Hi there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Christina and today I'm talking about 6 things that you might be doing in your home that are making it less stylish. And hopefully this video will give you the inspiration to update it or get out of your house or bring something in new to fix these problems. So with that said, let's get into the list of 6 things. All right, the first mistake is you might be styling your home with things that mean nothing to you. Generic pieces of art or figurines that you got at Target. If it looks like your home is a staged home for a listing on Zillow, then you might have made a mistake. And I know some designers kind of like this fully curated look. They want to keep personal things to the hallways in the bedrooms, but I disagree. I think you should have your family artwork on display. I think you should have your family photos out. I think that thing you brought back from your trip that's really personal to you should be on your shelves. I think the books that you display should be actual books that you read or have read that you love. And I'm guilty of this. I have bought things that just because I thought they were pretty should come home with me. And that might be all you need, is that you think it's pretty. And I would allow that exception, because if it sparks joy, whether or not it's personal to you, then that's fine. But if you just were like, I need to fill this wall with something, and you went to TJ Maxx and just found a piece of art to slap on the wall, then I think that's the mistake. I think you need to take time to find, what do I love? What piece would be meaningful here? And take your time to fill that space. Don't just fill it because you need to fill it. And I think sometimes people just get stuck walking around Home Goods and start picking things that they like, or they just kind of are like, oh, that would work in my house, and bring it home, without really taking pause and considering, do I love this? Does it mean something to me? And I think that's what makes our homes the most beautiful, is when like each thing has a story. And I love hearing, why do you have this in your house? I know one of my biggest conversation starters is I actually don't have it up right now, but in my last home, I had a picture of a can of Diet Coke framed, and it was on my bookshelves. And every time someone came in, they're like, why do you have this picture of a can of Diet Coke? It was back in the good old days when you took a camera photo and you had to wait to get it developed. And I remember my mom had taken all these pictures, probably of my little sister, because she was really cute. And my mom said, oh, I have a few more pictures on the film if you want to just go snap some things, that way I can get it developed tomorrow. And so I went around and snapped things that were just sitting around in my house. And one of those was, there was a can of Diet Coke on our dining table. And my mother is a lover of Diet Coke, and I also love Diet Coke. It's my beverage of choice. I know it's not that healthy for you. Don't come for me in the comments. I know the risks I'm taking when I consume this beverage, and I don't care what you think. And anyhow, I took a picture of this Coke can. I framed it when I was in high school, and then I had it all through college and into our first home. And it's meaningful to me because I love Diet Coke. And I remember that memory. I remember taking the pictures and thinking I was so artsy, taking it from like this angle, and I had like the background all blurry. So, you know, it might be stupid to you, but it's meaningful to me. And that is what makes our homes unique and what makes our homes beautiful. So I would encourage you, if you have things that you just slapped up on your shelves because you needed to fill something and you just walked around Hobby Lobby or Home Goods to fill up those spaces, I would say reconsider those spaces. And I also, one other thing is, I know like Joanna Gaines decorates this way, and it kind of drives me a little crazy, is she'll turn all the books to be backwards so the pages are facing you, not the spine. And I get why they do that. It's that it looks all white and clean and crisp, but then it tells no story. They're just books on a shelf that mean nothing. It's the spine of the book that has the title, the author, and that means something to you, and it's why you brought it into your book, and so you could find the book if you needed to. So I appreciate the monochromatic simplicity of why she turns them around, but I would argue that what's the point of having the book then? It's there to tell a story about yourself. Okay, enough of design number 1. I spent way too much time on that one. All right, design mistake number 2, and that's buying furniture and rugs that are too small for your space. And I think you could make the mistake of being too big, but more often I think people go too small. And I think it's because you can get a smaller couch or a smaller rug for a cheaper price, and so people are being economical, which I appreciate and understand those motivations. But in the end, when you get that bookcase on the wall that's itty bitty bitty, it doesn't work for the space and it doesn't proportionally fill out the space. So I would urge you to take measurements of your space, map out how you think furniture best should be, its depth, its width, and make sure that it actually works for your space before you just buy something because it looked nice and it fit within your budget. And I'm not suggesting to spend out of your budget, but just keep in mind those dimensions. And that might mean you have to save up a little longer to get the right size rug. Because let's face it, a 9x12 rug costs a lot more than a 5x7. But if you put a 5x7 under your queen or king bed, it's gonna look ridiculous. It doesn't fit the space. You need a bigger rug to make the space make sense. And I would argue that you might actually save money in the long run, because if you buy that small piece thinking you're saving money, I think as time goes on, you're gonna realize this doesn't work and you're gonna end up buying something else. And so you will have wasted that money. So I would say save up and make that painful purchase one time and get the proportions right. Go bigger. I think it's always better to go bigger, even if you're in a smaller space. I mean, you can't have like a couch that you can't maneuver around, of course. Of course, you still need your space to be functional. So you can't go so big that you can't, get in and around your furniture. But I would argue lean on the bigger side. Don't go too small. Okay, design mistake number 3. And if you've been on my channel, you know this about me, that I tend to be a little bit more on the minimal side. And what that means is decluttering. You have too much stuff out. Your cabinets are full of stuff. Your shelves are full of stuff. Your kitchen has so many decorations. Where are you cooking? How do you cook with all these vases and pictures and cookbooks out? Clear off the spaces. Be okay with, I call it like negative space, that it's okay if that wall is empty. And I'm not saying don't fill things with things that you love, of course, but be selective in what you choose. And I'm guessing you could fill a trash bag or 2 with things to donate and get out of their house. Or maybe they're just in the wrong home in your house that you haven't put them away. So maybe go through your house, put things away, declutter, and get your spaces to be a bit more clutter-free. And that's what, like if you look at beautiful homes in these pictures, they don't have their mail out on the counter. They don't have their clothes lying on the floor. They have tidied up and it's clutter-free. And those kinds of spaces are the ones that are relaxing. Those are the curated spaces that are higher design. So I think that's the first step in any design, is clear out what doesn't belong there. And then and then you have a blank slate with what you're looking at. So definitely clear out the clutter, take a bag to the Goodwill, and you'll feel yourself also feeling a little less stressed and less anxious, and definitely a good place to start. So definitely a design mistake is having clutter everywhere. And if every wall is filled with things, take a few things down, patch up the holes, be selective with what you put on your walls, be selective with what you put on your nightstand and your kitchen counters, and don't have too much stuff out. All right, design mistake number 4, and this goes back about 6 or 7 years, so if you're still doing this, then you really need to fix it, is if you have gray on gray on gray, because we have come out of gray. And if you have like mirrored furniture and everything is too chromy and gray, clear it out. It's too cool. It's not warm enough. But then I would argue on the other side too, the beiges have kind of come back in. But if you have everything beige, 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 or I even argue white, 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 because I love all white, but I'm careful to add in those contrasts. So I'm not saying you can't have gray or you can't have beige or all white, but it's when you do these completely monochromatic looks that you're missing opportunities for high design. And I think how you get high design is having high contrast. So if you have all gray, add in like a pop of a warm color, add in some gold, add in some like yummy rust colors. Or if you're going all beige everything, throw in like a steely cool rug or some black here and there to break up all the beige. I would say bring in a few things in that warmer tone to warm up that cool, and then vice versa, some cooler tones to warm up the beige. And I think that's how you get the prettiest, most balanced, high design decor in home, is having that sort of yin and yang, having the opposites attract. And then I love all white, but I like to add in both warm and cool into that, as well as lots of black too, as you can see. I mean, and green, of course. So definitely consider breaking up the monochromatic and going for something with a little more interest. All right, that brings us to number 5. Number 5 is having, and I am so guilty of this, is having ugly, comfortable furniture. And we've had couches that were hand-me-downs. We had them forever because we were waiting to get a couch. And our couch now is high design as well as comfortable. You can find both, I promise you. And those reclining sofas are so comfortable, but they lack so much design. So, you know, I like to have a balance of form and function, and you may have to lean a little more like the form, but don't neglect the function. Yes, it should be comfortable. It should suit your needs, but don't go so much this way or so much this way. I think finding a balance in that. You shouldn't have this like beautiful couch that no one can sit in that feels so uncomfortable. I'm not suggesting that. So maybe find that equilibrium of where fashion can be appreciated while also being comfortable. I need to take my own advice. I'm looking at it right now in my bedroom where I'm filming. I have a recliner that I got at Costco when my son was born. I have nursed all my children in that recliner. I've spent many a nights watching TV up with a newborn. I watch a lot of Law and Order on that recliner, and it is so comfortable. It's like formed to my body, this leather recliner, and it's so ugly, and I know that it is. And I'm not fooling anyone that it's an attractive sofa. Is it comfortable? Yes, especially since I've had it for so long. It is like formed to the contour of my body in there. And I only keep it in my bedroom, and like you cannot see it. If you walk past my room like a visitor, you can't see it. It's like in the corner. And I am planning to get rid of it at some point. I need it. I still have a baby. I still use it with my children. But it's the first thing that's going out of here as soon as I'm out of the baby phase. So if you have a baby and you're in that phase, fine. Or if you are older and have, you know, physical limitations, keep your recliner. But balance, I love like in Frasier, he has all these like designer couches. He has like an Eames chair up by the balcony that looks out like the Seattle skyline, and then his dad has that hideous recliner that the dog loves. So I love that show, and I actually kind of like that ugly chair in there. It's kind of the personality of the room, and it's a funny part of the show. So, you know, keep your thing, but don't try to justify it. Keep it tucked away in your room. You know, and I know oftentimes this is the fight with couples, is the husband wants a really comfy couch and the wife wants a really uncomfortable couch. Find something in the middle, and if you have to have your ugly sofa, put it in your room or put it in a back theater room or a back TV room, and at least compromise that one part of your space has the higher design. Because again, it's the form and function. You have to have your furniture should be serving you, not you just having high design things. But I argue most of the time you can get both high design and comfortability. And I will actually leave some links of some furniture that I like that I think is also comfortable, and hopefully you can find something. I know Potterybarn sells, and many other retailers sell, couches and swivel chairs and recliners that are comfortable, but they don't sacrifice fully on this style. I'd argue they're not the most stylish, but you can find comfortable and have some of that style. So definitely check out some of the links I have below that give options that kind of meet that equilibrium I'm talking about. All right, and now we're on to my 6th design mistake that you might be making. And this one is one that I might be guilty of too. I find that this whole list were things that I've done that I've messed up on. But the 6th one is all you do is copy other people and you copy images from Pinterest and Instagram. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't get inspiration. I definitely get inspiration from all different designers. But I think sometimes when you don't know what to do, you just sort of exactly copy what this person does. And then if that is what you love in your design style, then by all means, I'm not saying not to do that. And sometimes it helps to have someone say, yes, go buy this couch, it will work perfectly in your house. So I'm not saying to never copy other people. I think that's how we learn how to design and we can find our design style that way. But copying someone, but I would say search for what your design style is. Find out what you like, even if that's not what any of the trends are. And I've gotten a lot of people in my comments that I really appreciate all your comments when you comment, saying, you know, yeah, this is a style, but you know, I've never liked that style and I did something else and I love my home. I love hearing that from my viewers, that, you know, I can sit here and tell you my opinion that you shouldn't do X, Y, or Z, but if it's what you love, then absolutely. I think that's sort of my motto in design, is choose what you love. And if that is what, you know, I love, like the House of Valentina shows, I love Olano, I love KB, what's her name? DIY with KB. I love her. I love all these people's, the links that they show. I love their homes and I take inspiration from them, but always keeping in the back of my mind, what do I love? What is my design style? And then I think that's how you get the perfectly curated home for you and your family, is what you love, and not just looking at a Pinterest picture and copying every single thing, because ultimately that won't feel like your home. It won't be beautiful to you because it has no soul behind it. And I kind of think that goes back to the number one thing I said, which was if everything is just generic and means nothing. I feel like these two are kind of, my first and last are kind of linked, in that if nothing in your house has meaning to you, then it doesn't feel homey. It just feels like you've walked into a store's display floor and there's nothing that speaks to you individually. So I would argue, learn what you love, bring in those pieces, and take inspiration from others. Certainly, of course, we all do that. And it's probably why you're on my video. It's why I watch all those other different creators' videos, is because with all of our different thoughts and opinions, you can kind of come to find, okay, this is what I really like. I really love this person's opinion on this or that. And so the art that's meaningful to me are I have two different kinds of art I like to have. One is kind of like this, a simple, abstract, high contrast, very restoration hardware looking. I love these kinds of pieces. And yes, they're generic. They don't like speak to my soul in any way, but I appreciate their high design. And then the other type of artwork I have is I love photos of my family and like things that I love and are important to me, like Diet Coke. And then I also love religious art because I'm a religious person, and I love those kinds of pieces. When I walk by them and see them in my home, they're meaningful to me. They mean something to me, and they make me want to change or be different or reconsider things. And so ultimately, I think those are what our pieces in our home should do. They should be a reflection of where we've been, where we'd like to go, the experiences that we've had, because that's what makes a home separate from just a house. That's what makes a house become a home, are those distinctions, are the things that are in them that have meaning. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to leave a comment. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your perspective on things, because I don't know anything. I'm not a formally trained designer. I just love design. I love decorating my home. I love seeing other people's homes. I love to like go look on Zillow what people are doing, how they're remodeling their homes. So I'd love to hear any of your input. Please consider subscribing. That really helps out my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.